Yes. So Aman, we are live now. I'm making you the host, and I think Mr. Sumeet is also there. Aman, please check Mr. Sumeet is there or not.
Sir, I'm not the host right now.
I'm making you.
Okay, sir.
Can you please? Okay.
And Ajit.
Yes, sir.
And once you make Aman host, Aman, you make what is the name? The someone who is going to compare this program. Who is going to
Divir Tiwary sir and Sumeet Chilwal sir.
No, that's okay. But who is going to
Harshda, sir, Harshda.
Where she is? So you make her co-host.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so both of you should handle it.
Yes, sir. She is co-host now.
Okay, good. So Ajit.
Sir.
Yeah, I think we should start now.
Just a minute, sir.
Harshda.
Aman, can you please make me co-host here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sumit, please join. Yes, you have joined. Okay. So before starting, I welcome all the members, and Mr. Sumit is with us. So Aman, please go ahead.
Aman, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so start. Yeah, so the proceedings should start now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're doing it.
Hasda, yeah.
Sir, am I audible and visible, sir?
Yes, of course.
Okay, sir. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. And a warm welcome to everyone present here in this afternoon. We are well enough know about the quote that entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people want, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. My name is S. Harshada, and today I'm here to embrace you all to this leaders talk on entrepreneurship and innovation as career opportunity on behalf of NVCTI IIT Dhanbad. An institution innovation cell council IIC calendar activity as per the instruction of Ministry of Education innovation cell. So before starting the session, it is a humble request to all the attendees to be muted and unmute only when our guest speaker asks to, or for raising doubts, you can put up on the chat box, which will be taken up at the end of the session. So for making the session more special, we have our faculty members of NVCTI IIT Dhanbad. Now I would like to request Professor Pankaj Mishra sir, who is the Associate Dean Innovation and HOC NVCTI IIT Dhanbad, to address all the participants. So please, over to you.
Thank you, Harshda. It's my proud privilege that all of you have joined this session in the afternoon of this Saturday, and we have with us Mr. Divir Tiwary and Mr. Sumeet Chilwal, who are going to enlighten us on the topic which says entrepreneurship and innovation as career opportunity. Now, so on my personal behalf and on behalf of Naresh Vashisht Centre for Tinkering and Innovation, IIT ISM Dhanbad, I welcome the two speakers of today's session, as well as all the participants from our 5 mentee institutes especially, and from our own institute also. This program is being conducted under the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell's mentor-mentee scheme, which mandates us to collaborate with 5 mentee organizations, which are namely in this case our Jharkhand State University, Central University Jharkhand, and Jharkhand Rai University, and so 3 other, this BIT Misra, 2 campuses are there. One is from BIT Misra, and the other is campus of Deoghar, and there is one more college. So all of you are, so I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart for this program. Now, as far as this NVCTI's activity is concerned, NVCTI is the center who is responsible for taking the innovation activities at IIT ISM Dhanbad. This center has been created with the vision of our director, Professor Rajiv Sekhar, and with the generous help of our alumnus, Mr. Naresh Vashisht ji, who has given something of the order of 10 crore to establish a tinkering and innovation lab for the benefit of our students, as well as for the benefit of the society. This center is taking care of all the innovation activities. Innovation, to my mind, is equivalent to water. Water for life, okay, is similar to say innovation for the nation. Today's generation needs innovation to strive to the future, because without doing innovation, we will not be able to survive in this cutthroat competitive age. So, and entrepreneurship is just the next step of the innovation. You innovate something and you go for the entrepreneurship. You don't become the job seeker, become the job giver. That is the sole objective of today's policy of the government of India. And under that policy, all such schemes are running throughout the country. And to my mind, the fruit of these programs will be seen in very, very near future for the economy as well as for the society. So with this, I welcome you all again. And also I thank all my NVCTI team members, SIT, Student Innovation Cell members, particularly Aman Hars and Harsada, and my backbones, Mr. Professor Ajit Kumar and Professor Prashant Sharma, and all other faculty colleagues who have joined for today's program. So with this, I thank you all, I welcome you all, and I hope that today's session will be very, very helpful for you. And I promise that we will keep on coming with such events in future also. Thank you very much. Harsada.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words and for making know what is NVCTI and how it is putting hands on entrepreneurship. So moving forward to our first session of this workshop, we are always being aware, or we are always being guided about what things we should do when we are starting up or having a entrepreneurship led towards it. But it is always a rare awareness, or we don't know much about what things we should not do while starting up. So for giving a clear-cut idea on it, and for clearing all the doubts about it, today we have a speaker among us who is the co-founder and the chief consciousness officer of Sattviko, which is building the world's first yogic nutrition brand. Prior to the Sattviko, he co-founded Style Spot, and he has also been adjudged as Business World's 40 under most influential people. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Sumeet Chilwal. So, welcome.
Thank you, Harshada. Thanks a lot, Professor Mishra, Professor Ajit, for inviting me for this session. First of all, very good afternoon to everybody. Thanks a lot for taking out your time and attend today's session. I hope that after I prepared a couple of slides for you, and I hope that after this, it doesn't turn out to be a long, boring lecture for everybody. And in case if you have any questions or anything, you're free to put it in the chat, and we can take it from there. Before Harshada gave a generous introduction. Before I start today's session, first of all, what I would like, if you have chat access, I would like you all to, maybe put in the top 3 things that come to your mind when you see the word entrepreneurship, or when you think about entrepreneurship. So, quickly we'll take 2, 3. If you can put in the chat. This is just to know that you guys are still there and kicking. Top 3 things that come to your mind.
Sir, actually, I think we don't have chat box option here.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody would want to unmute? People can unmute themselves, or no?
Yes, you can raise hands so that we can make it unmute.
Yeah. So if you
People can raise hands, we have that option here.
If somebody would want to take it up, top 3 things that come to your mind when you think about entrepreneurship, or when somebody says entrepreneurship. Do we have somebody? No.
Sir, it's hustle and dedication towards your work.
Hustle and dedication. Okay. And anybody else?
So it's problem solving.
Problem solving. Okay. I think there are 2 more, Shrikar and Sanskriti. I think Sanskriti or Shrikar.
Hello, I am Vishal from Sanskriti Khel Vidya. Yeah. So basically, for me, entrepreneurship is all about having a vision and then converting into a reality in whatever resource you have. And it's no more about patience and having that endurance to do it. Yeah.
Right. So we'll take one more. Probably Shrikar, if you would want to unmute yourself.
It's about innovation and thinking differently than others.
Right. So, so when Professor Ajit reached out to me, he said, we are having this session, and would you like to tell speak to our students here? So I thought there is already so much information available on the internet and around. What else could I add to you that would make a little bit of difference to your lives, and maybe add a little bit of different value to whatever we already know or have already read. While if we have to put the ingredients of success out, while you cannot put the ingredients of success out, it is different for everybody. But I think if we do lesser mistakes, if we take lesser wrong calls, I think our chances of success greatly increase. So this would be my topic to pursue in today's session. So I'll just project my. I've made a couple of slides out of bad habit. I am going to project my. You guys can see my screen. You can probably give a thumbs up if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So this is. So I've been in entrepreneurship for the last 10 years. Frankly, my first business I started when I was. So I'm a graduate of IIT ISM Dhanbad, and it is always a special honor to come back to your college, to your alma mater, and address budding entrepreneurs here. So frankly speaking, I started my first business when I was in second year of college. So in the last 10 years, what I'll try to share here are the top few things that came to my mind when I think about what should you there is so much to do. What can you avoid when you're starting up? So about me. My name is, I'll just give another introduction. My name is Sumeet. I'm the co-founder and chief conscious officer at Sattviko, which is building the world's first yogic nutrition brand. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started at least 3 businesses before that. My latest business before Sattviko got acquired. I'm easily reachable on LinkedIn. You can search me. I'm pretty very unique name, so you can find me out there. Before I go into the things, just to give you a brief idea of what we are doing at Sattviko, so that you have a broad understanding of where I'm coming from. Sattviko is a global plant-based, delicious yogic food brand that promotes yoga and a healthy lifestyle through its unique food offerings, communities, and content. We started off from Udaipur in India, which was our first smallest plant there. And over the last 7 years of our business, we've expanded to 15 countries and are doing business around the world now, across all time zones, from Australia to the US. So this, just to give you a perspective, we started off as a QSR food company. The image you see on the left is from 2014. This was one of the very first, very small QSR that came up in Delhi's. I think this is this is GK market, GK1 market, M block. This is one of our smallest unit that came out there. And on the right, you can see this is our latest state-of-the-art 100,000 square feet manufacturing plant that is now ready in Udaipur. So this is the plant that is now manufacturing for products that we are sending out to across 15 countries now around the world. Over the past couple of years, we've received a couple of awards. We were judged as the Government of India's best food and agri startup, Economic Times, Business World 40 under 40, Power to SME. Couple of awards we've received. Now that was my background, and just to give you a perspective of what we are doing at Sattviko and what our story has been. Now the things that follow these slides a lot, some of those would be contrarian views, not really things that you could go online and find out. These are views that are structured from my perspective, and over the last few years that I have talked to people, I think a lot of it resonates with a lot of people. So there are going to be contrarian views, and you're free to ask me questions about them if you have any questions after the PPT ends. So the first topic that I would want to talk to you about, the prime topic, the zeroth topic, would be start with a problem that you have. There is so much buzzword about starting your own company, starting your own entrepreneur venture. We all hear about our friends of friend who started companies, got a lot of funding. And in that eagerness, we start off a company based on an imaginary problem that somebody might have in a certain scenario. So what I would suggest you to do is never ever start companies made up problems. Always look at problems that you have, or look at problems that somebody very close to you really has. If you are unable to find problems, or if you're able to find that whatever you want to do has already been done, there are already a lot of things already being done on that, I'd say wait it out, find out, have more experiences, do do a job, do travel, do whatever, but till the time you find out a problem that you are currently facing, do not start something before that. So the first, after this, the one of the basic problems that one of the basic things that I have seen people struggle with, and this is also something that I have personally gone through, is that this whole notion that you need to have a co-founder to start off with. While I am a big supporter, don't take me wrong, I am a big supporter of getting your own co-founder onboarded and having a team, having somebody to build it up. It is a beautiful thing. But as it is in marriage, 1 + 1 can make 2, or 1 + 1 can make half. If you're starting off with the wrong people in your eagerness to just start up, and you end up being with the wrong people, it is going to be much worse than it could have possibly been. So it is better to start off with people whom you have a good rapport with, people who you think are a good fit, not people who you are trying to fit in as a good fit. So that is why I said you'll keep the search on for a co-founder, but it is okay. I've seen, I've had these experiences where it was a better experience working out alone than starting off with the wrong people to begin off with. Second, this is a very common saying, and if you are even remotely associated with the startup world, this is a very famous thing. Apart from all the jargon and all the motivational quotes there, this is called launch fast. I think launch fast actually has a lot of merit. I see so many people, who spend so much time on a product, on a problem. They spend years and years just working on their products, trying to get that off the ground. And by the time they launch, the market has changed and there's no need for their product. Launching fast is actually a very relevant advice, but not too fast, right? If you're launching too fast, you have to understand that at your basic offering, your offering should at least solve one problem, right? And it has to solve that well. Your product doesn't have to be very beautiful, but it has to do what it intends to solve. In your hurry of launching too fast, if your product doesn't solve that specific problem and you've just launched too fast, it is difficult to get initial customers. You will be getting initial customers and losing them even faster. So take that time. Don't focus on solving too many problems. If your product is able to solve that basic root problem, even to a very crude degree, it is good to launch. Don't launch before that. Now this again, number 4, is something that I have faced, and I've learned this by falling into these ditches so many times, is hiring poorly. A lot of times, since we are in the hurry of launching something and getting that off ground, we take, or we our friends, family, or somebody referred somebody to us, and we just because they were a referral or something, you hire, and then they turn out to be not so great people, and that has a lot of impact. So I think that when you are hiring, it is better again to work in a team with lesser people than work with people who are not a good fit. So hiring poorly is one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen so many people make, and I've made it myself. Number 5 would be hiring without requirement. And I've had this. Somebody got referred to me. He was a friend of a friend, and he was a great guy. Love spending time with him. Love doing, talking to him. He had a lot of similar ideas, but we did not have a use for him. We still hired him, and at the end, after 4 months, we had to let him go. And I think that we would have been much better if we had looked for a position before hiring, So if you don't have a even if you meet a great person, right? If you meet, say, if you meet Shah Rukh Khan tomorrow, or a great guy, anybody, if you don't have requirement for them, don't hire. Number 6, this doesn't mean that you should underestimate the values of team. Never ever underestimate the value of a great team. Be very, very guarded of who you get into your close networks. Always hire for complementary skills. If you can do something really well, or somebody else in your team can do something really well, don't get another person who can do the exact same thing. You should hire for complementary skills, but for same values and same culture. Number 7, this is such a common mistake, and even to this day, I think we've made a lot of these mistakes, just taking everybody's feedback. We make something, we show it to our mom gives us feedback, we show it to our dad gives us feedback, friends, family, so many people, they give us continuous feedback on do this, but you have to think about whose feedback really matters. Feedback only matters of those people who are willing to pay or who have already paid for your product. If nobody is paying for your product and giving you feedback, don't take that feedback. These people are, so to say, irrelevant. People love giving feedbacks. Just nod your head, say okay, very good, very nice, but do not dwell on these feedbacks. But always be collecting feedback from your customers. Even if you have one customer, collect all feedbacks that you can. Whatever he or she says, take that with utmost seriousness. Discard everything else that all freeloaders are trying to give you feedbacks on. Number 8, very, very, very important. I think in today's scenario, we see so many companies making losses. And if I ask you, is it a good business? If I'm investing 100 rupees and losing 20 rupees on every transaction, you'd probably come to me and say, no, it's not a good business. It's a bad business. You should close it down. But this is what we are seeing. We have glorified funding. We've glorified losses. But I think the top 3 things, if don't track too many metrics, but track 3 metrics from day 0. Track what are your revenues, do you have repeating users, what are your profit. I did not write how many users you have. It is okay to have very few users, but if you have repeating users, you're doing something right. Do you have profitability in sight, or are you profitable? Or even if you're making loss, do you know why you're making losses, and can you control it today if you want to? Only track these 3 metrics going in your initial days. Number 9, I have seen a lot of the people I see are really shy. A lot of times, a lot of people I see are heavily introverted. It is a very, very big issue for people to go out and talk to people. And I think that one thing that will serve you throughout your life would be building your network. You'll find mentors, you'll find friends, advisors, customers, referrals. I am to this day, I am amazed by the things that my network shares with me, or I am the things that I'm able to discuss with my network. It is very, very important to build your own support system, your own network of fellow entrepreneurs, of mentors, advisors, whoever knows something more than you in something that you're doing. They are worthy to be in your network. Number 10, biggest thing that you should be paranoid about from day 0 would be cash in the bank. Do you have enough money if you have enough money for 3 months? Start thinking about how can you have enough money for 6 months? If you have enough money for 6 months, start thinking about how can you have enough money for 12 months. Always be paranoid about your cash in the bank. You should always have cash at your hand. That frees you up from so many things, from so many impulsive decisions. And it is a really comfortable position to be in, rather than having 0 cash and then waiting for the universe to do a magic for you. Number 11, funny story. I had somebody who was a close relative and they were suffering from high blood pressure since some time now. And they went to their doctor to get advice on medication over high BP levels. And the first thing the doctor said was, what do you do? And they said, in their day, they said at 9 p.m. at night, every day I listen to the news. So the doctor said, cut down your news for 1 week and then come back to me. And surprisingly, his blood pressures came back to normal. So I'd say cut down heavily on your startup news. Personally, I have a very, very small fraction of this kind of startup news that I consume. And I think that it is a big, big deterrent to your focus, to what you want to do. And trust me, a lot of the startup news that you hear, a lot of these rags to riches stories, most of them have an element of fiction to them. So if there's a lot of David versus Goliath stories, there are a lot of rag versus riches stories, most probably they have some fiction in them, and they'll just derail you into wishful thinking. And also investment news, right? Your competitor raised $10 million is such a big distraction, and then you start going after them and launch a new product behind them because you are consuming a lot of startup news, and that is basically distracting you from your entire your game. Number 12, I don't know how important I have to stress this, and surprisingly I don't see anybody talking about it. But I think that a lot of us are engineers or are not from business backgrounds. So while we do understand business in its broad sense, I think that we all must learn business basics. MBA 101, what are balance sheets, what are income statements, what are cash flow statements, what is net profit, what is gross margins. These are some things that you must, if you haven't read these till now, do read them. What things like EBITDA, how to do your taxes and all of these things. These you'll thank me later. Very, very important. You'll find very beautiful courses over on YouTube by top institutes like Stanford, MIT, and a lot of free content available. Go through them. They'll not take a lot of time, but I'm surprised by the number of people who avoid this. And if you're doing the business, you have to know its language, and these are the things which are the language of the business. So hoping that I've not bored you to death, and this was a little bit interesting for you. I'll pause now, and if you have any questions, feel free to if Harshada can help me out one by one, you can unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, just go ahead.
Sir, actually, I just have a feedback for this. After a long time, I literally loved the presentation how you made, because it was so crisp and literally got what things we should not do and what things we should focus on. Thank you so much for this lovely presentation, actually.
Thank you, Harshad.
And people, if you have any other doubts, sir is all there. You can shoot questions. I hope you can unmute yourself. If not, you can raise your hand so that I can help you in unmuting.
Mr. Sumit. Sumit. Can you hear me?
I don't know who's speaking. Just a minute.
I'm Pankaj Mishra.
Yes, sir.
Sumit, it was really a wonderful talk. It was very crisp, and the message is quite clear. Now, I would like to ask you, can you describe what are the problems you faced during your journey of entrepreneurship in the beginning?
Uh, I think the problems that I face, I think problems are a part of somebody who has started a business. I think even to this day, before the talk, I was discussing with somebody who, we are going through something. There's something new, a new product coming through, and you run into problems every day. But just to start off, I think be prepared that I think everybody should be prepared that whatever Murphy's law, whatever you imagine can go wrong will go wrong. So I've had issues like, so the basic issue was, the first issue that anybody faces is how do you explain your parents that what you're doing. And I think that till the last 3-4 years, it has been, I think, after 10 years of my doing this, I can confidently say that for the last 2-3 years, my parents have really understood what I'm doing. So for the initial 6-7 years, they had no clue what I am doing, because a lot of the things you cannot communicate to people around you. There are things that you would not want to communicate to people who love you and who are in your family. So I think and then team hiring is a big problem, that you really do need to find good people. That was one of the issues that we faced initially. Again, small things, product issues, funding issues. I think these are like, even now, I'd be lying, or anybody would be lying if I say there are no problems now. Everything is good. Hello.
Hello, Sumeet. Myself, Lata from Central University of Jharkhand. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Lata.
The things are that the people says before you go for the any business, you should have experience of that, or courage, particularly the courage. If
Yes.
so, just like you said earlier, you were in the second year of your education and you started your business.
Yes.
So first you take the experience, then you go into the field, or but just your idea come into mind and you go for experiences and all the things.
I think really good question, Mr. Lata. So when I talk to a lot of people, and there's a whole thought process that entrepreneurs are risk taking, but trust me, entrepreneurs are the least willful risk takers that I know. Some of the very, very great entrepreneurs that I know would be they're not so great risk takers as people generally talk them to be. So that is why just to answer your question, I think when people say you need experience, so there's a yes and a no. I think that you need to experience the problem is what I think. If there is if there's something that you have not experienced as a problem, then I would agree that you need to have that experience. But I have seen, but if you ask me from a corporate standpoint of an experience from that end, I think that to my mind would not be very, very important. But if you faced such a problem, then you know what to sell, and then it becomes a no-brainer, right? It becomes a very risky situation. You have a problem, I have a solution. If I can do 99 things wrong, one thing that I'm doing right is that you have a problem, I have a product that solves that is your solution. So I think a lot of people they would take the jump first and declare I'm doing entrepreneurship, and then figure out ab kya kare now I've said that I'm doing my business, but what business is a lot of times unclear. So I'd say go to the first principles, see what is the problem and what is the solution.
Okay, thanks for it.
Yeah, Sumit sir, thank you for the nice presentation.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. So I saw your website. All the stakeholders, all the owners are yoga freak, and they're all healthy and fit. It's a great thing to It's a great inspiration for anyone. And congrats for your new factory at Udaipur. And it's a really motivation, and finding out that niche market, our yoga is going in global way through your product, is a very unique concept and a very niche product. So I'm no question, but I am very happy and feel good, and congratulate you for that. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. I think Shivam's.
So, sir, how did you got your initial customers?
Okay, good question. If I talk about Sattviko, the initial customers, so as I said, right, we knew a lot of people who had this problem, that they were not finding healthy food products, yogic food products around us. So our first customers came from our network, from people that we knew, friends of friends, friends of family. It was it was initial customers were a no-brainer, because we were surrounded from people whom we knew. So we spread the word around that these are the products. Some people we sent out free samples. We made them taste. We did a couple of trade shows. We were there at a lot of healthy food product gatherings. But if you would ask where did our first 100 customers come from, they were through our own network, from people that we knew who were really actually going through these problems. We did not do any marketing or anything. I think Shivam's hand is up.
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to know how to launch the product, sir, at the initial stage, sir.
Okay, so product launch shouldn't, we have these ideas of Apple type launches, product launches. Once you do a product launch, it will happen multiple times. So once you do a product launch, it will again need to be launched again 3 days back, after 7 days, after 10 days, after 15 days. So one thing that you need to understand is a launch will not happen once. There'll be product launches, because once you launch, you'll figure out this is broken, then you'll fix it, then you'll again launch it. So so the first thing again, all comes back to my first point. So the product launch would be, hey, I made this product, this to people who have that problem, just tell them, hey, I have made this product, would you like to use it? And very contrary to popular opinion, charge them. Charge them 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, 5000, whatever you think you should charge them. If people, this is your first sign that your product launch is successful or not, if people are willing to buy it. That is when you know that you have solved a problem for which people would actually want to buy your product. If and a very good thing to think about is, if you build a product and you don't know where to get your first 5 or 10 customers, then probably you are very far away from your market. Then you don't have those initial customers to whom you would go out and sell these products to. And trust me, customers are in groups. If you have one person, and this is like I have personally seen it, if there's one person who has diabetes, he would know at least 3 people who have diabetes in my sort of product understanding. And in a similar way, if there's some person who has ABC problem, he would at least know 3 to 4 people more who would have these problems, if the problem that you're solving is worthwhile to solve. So you'd get referrals then. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, I do have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, I'm Harshada. Sir, actually, I was asking, as a student, like we are taught to build up on new ideas and all. So, like, if we have an idea but we don't know how to, like, it's an idea for social welfare. So, like, how do we really can start it up, or like, what is the ideology? How to make it, like, or put them in a society, or show them. So did you get my question?
Yes. So are you talking about an NGO of sorts, a non-profit making thing, or like a business?
No, sir. Actually, spotting it out more. Actually, I was thinking to more on waste management and all. So if we have some product on, like on that, on an idea on that, but it is more for social welfare and all. So how to really should we make it a company, or like sell that idea, or how should we do? Because it is a welfare for.
Yeah, sorry. You want to continue on that?
No, sir. No, sir. That's what the thing is.
So to start off your business, you do not need to set up your own company. First of all, one of the first things that we did at college was that during placements we found out that a lot of our seniors did not have good English speaking skills to go into the interview and actually communicate in English, because all interviews were happening in English. They did not have the skills and the confidence to communicate that to effectively in English. So what we did was we got in touch with the English speaking institute, and we made a specific program with them. We got them to make a 15-day crash course on how to just speak enough English to ace your interviews. And we did not have a company for that. We did a little bit of business. We got people enrolled into those classes. People had good result. It was a good product. So I think, Harshada, you do not need to set up a company to validate your idea. What you need is if it is for social welfare, do you have situations wherein you can put this product into use? Because if you've made a product, if it is with you, then trust me, nobody will come and buy it from you. You have to go out. You do not need to set up a private limited or any other company. You can go to the people who are actually facing those problems, start implementing. Even if you have one sales or one person that actually uses your product, that where to start it from. But it would be your product would need refinement if you are unable to find people who are actually using your product. So does this answer your question, or did I get it right?
Yes, sir. I got some ways, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think it is 4. I think I've exceeded my time. So Harshada, I think people are okay with the questions now. In case if you have any questions, you can obviously get in touch with me on LinkedIn, and we can. I'll try, and if I'll be able to help over there.
So before we wrap up, I really want to thank you for addressing us and taking out time actually from your busy schedule, and for addressing your it feels great to listen from our alumni like you, and we really are proud of you. And thank you for giving such a good preaching and with such a good presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot.
And hope to have you, sir, in future again with this lovely workshops.
Thank
you. So moving forward for our second session of our workshop on entrepreneurship and innovation as career opportunity. As we learned now about what we should not do while having a startup, but it's always a question for students like us or people who really want to have a startup is that how do we really need to bootstrap our startup? And for clearing all the doubts about it and for giving a clear-cut idea on it, we have a speaker among us who is the co-founder and the business head in FieldAssist, which is the leading sale automation platform delivering growth to CPG businesses in emerging economics like India. Before founding FieldAssist, he launched India's first integrated QR code marketing platform, that is Flick to Know. And he has interned with prestigious organizations like MKSS and BDT, working for the socio-economic upliftment rural India. He is passionate about technology with critical areas of interest as startup mobility, sales and marketing, sustainability, and networking. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Divir Tiwary. So welcome, sir. So over to you. Sir, actually, like your voice is faint. You're not audible. Yes, sir. No, sir, it is not. It is not audible now. Sir, actually, I'm muted. You are, but still your voice is faint, sir. You are audible, but yes, sir.
I think you have to let me in. Yeah, thank you.
Am I audible now?
Sorry. Yes, sir, you are. But like it's echo, it's an echo. Yeah, yes, sir, you are now.
Is it better?
Yes, sir. It is clearly audible. You're clearly audible.
Perfect. Thank you. So thank you everyone for having me. And as Harshada mentioned, right now we are going to discuss what is bootstrapping. I think Sumit has already given you the tips of what to do, what not to do as far as starting up is concerned. But whenever we think of starting up, I think one of the most critical thing that comes to our mind is where the capital is going to come, right? If I need to build a startup, it'll require resources, and not every startup or not every entrepreneur will get investments upfront from the market. Though in the current scenario, there's a lot of opportunities for us to raise funds. But let's suppose if you are not able to raise funds, or if you don't want to raise funds, still, if you want to build your startup, if you still want to grow, so what are the key things, and especially I'll say student entrepreneurs, because when I started my journey, I also started straight after the college. And for us also at that point of time, 2010, I'm talking about, funding scenario in India was not that great. There are hardly any accelerator programs. All that I'll say e-com era only started coming in 2012-13. So so if you're really passionate about entrepreneurship in general, the funding is a great way to scale your business, to run your business, but that's not the only way. So this is something which I'd like to share with you, that if you really want to do it, and maybe because let's say somebody else is not able to back on you, or maybe you are not getting access to capital, how you can still build your business, take it to a next level, and then eventually it's your choice whether you want to then raise funds or you continue to bootstrap your company. And traditionally, if you see how Indian businesses are, I'm sure a lot of you will have within your family and friends people who have built businesses, but these guys have not raised funds. And to me, entrepreneurship is not just limited to building something fancy. If somebody is starting a small business, this could be a boutique outlet only for, let's say, fashion, or this could be anything. Most of the time for us to seek fund and to get fund is a time consuming thing, and a lot of time, and there's a possibility that a lot of time the other party is not able to understand the value that you want to create, and still you want to go ahead with that. And the first thing that comes to our mind is where the money is going to come. So I'll be more than happy to share our experience, since my knowledge and experience is limited to B2B, building B2B businesses, unlike Sumit, who has already built a very good B2C business. So when I will talk about bootstrapping, most of the context which I like to draw is when you are building a B2B business and how bootstrapping can help you to build and scale that kind of a business. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen. I have a very small presentation to make. What I'll be more than interested, rather than talking about the concept, is where if any one of you is looking to build a business and you think that raising fund might be difficult for your business venture or for your idea, if you want to share, let's say, any of the case scenarios that where you are stuck, I'll be more than happy to discuss those. So just give me a second, and is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
So let me just give you a quick snippet about what is bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is a frugal way of building business, which means whatever resources are available to you, what you're trying to do is you're trying to solve a problem, find customers who can pay for it. And I'll narrate a story which is very close to my heart. When I started looking for building a startup when I was in college, this is exactly what we did. So there, I think you still have robotics competitions, and this is one of the competition in which we used to participate, where the ask was that build a robot which can traverse through a maze of water and reach to the destination in the fastest possible time. Now, this is an exciting problem statement to participate. The only thing where we were very passionate about was let's build a product, let's build a robot where we will use junk. So we wanted to minimize the investments from our side, because when you are in college, I'm pretty sure not everyone have availability to a lot of pocket money or cash which is at your disposal. So what we did was very simple thing. We found out a fruity bottle. We found out some used refills, a small motor, and a CPU fan. We created a boat out of this, and then we let us compete in this. And it was a boat which was hardly a size of the palm. It was very fast. We won the competition, and the prize money was at that point of time, I think, was very significant. Now that was my first, I'll say, experience of if I can solve a problem with very minimalistic resources, the output of that is very rewarding. The money that I earned that time by solving or let's say winning this competition was very big, and it translated into something which again I thought that can be built. And one of our college seniors who started the ESL and ISM, he thought and we thought that can we do something around this concept of using junk and maybe stitching it together with physics as concepts which we used to do in our 11th 12th standards as practicals, which were very boring, and can we create it as an offering to students which are in 10th 11th and 12th standards. We named the first offering as School Junk, and then eventually it turned into a company. My senior, he took it to the next level, raised funds, and it went. Similar, I'll tell story is when we entered into the college today, I think all of you have a domain specific email ID. So it could be, let's say, harshada at itism.ac.in. When I entered, there was no such service. So we reached out to our registrar and we said we want to build this because when we are applying for internship, it's very difficult to get attention of a professor outside or in India when we are using our Gmail IDs, and most of our Gmail IDs are very fun, right? We just got the name which we found on the internet and registered an email ID. And he appreciated the effort. We purchased a domain, a web space, created a service, and then I offered it at a price to all my colleagues, all my, or I'll say batchmates, to my juniors, and it started generating money for us. So that was my first encounter, that if you find a problem and with the basic minimum resources that you have, can you create a small quick service out of it or a product out of it and sell it to somebody you can pay for it. So this participating in the contest gave me, let's say, some 10,000 bucks in terms of the winning amount. Creating that email ID or that concept made us earn probably 60-70,000, which we again reinvested in that particular society that we founded in our college. And I think it supported the same domain specific email IDs for as long as I think 3-4 years, and then eventually now all of you have that service. So when you think about bootstrapping, I want you to think one step, or I want you to take one step back, and first try and understand that just like any other thing, building a company has a life cycle to it. So, and I'll say the greatest example is dating or probably getting married. So when you want to commit to someone, ideally what you won't do is, you might have a love at the first sight, but that love at the first sight doesn't mean that you've got your soulmate. You'll have interactions, you'll spend time, you'll try and understand whether both of you are liking each other. And once you feel that the chemistry exists, then you'll commit yourself to that relationship. And this could be, let's say a relationship which could last and terminate as let's say a marriage, or this could be just a relationship between a boy and a girl. So what essentially happens when you are starting a company, and especially if you are doing bootstrapping, or if you want to scale the company by bootstrapping, is the courtship period is very important. Where you are, it's like, you're just fiddling with the ideas and you're still not committed to one. Now, in case of bootstrapping, committing to one idea, the one of the most important thing is, are you going to get customers who are willing to pay for it? Because if the money channel is not coming for a bootstrapping startup, then it's very difficult for you to scale, as the availability of funds from any other source is already not an option. So I'll not talk about the rest of the stages, but what is important for anybody who wants to do a bootstrapping is, first think of, if you have 5, 4, 7, whatever number of ideas, think from a consumer side that if I bring this solution or a problem or a service to anybody, will the customer is going to pay for it? Typically, the habit changing ideas, let's say somebody who wanted us to make payments online, must have burned money in order for us to change that habit. Or maybe let's say us using sanitizers after pandemic, that's a habit change. Habit change typically needs investment of time and money, because this is something which we want to principally change in how we do and perceive things. So what we don't have to do is, don't look out for habit changing things, rather identify a problem for which a person is. So it's like a good to solve problem versus a must to solve problem. So in bootstrapping, if you're able to crack a must to solve problem, most likely the chances are that you are able to fetch money from the very beginning, and that is very ideal. And hence, my recommendation to you is, before building anything, if you want to bootstrap your enterprise, start selling at a concept level. This is extremely important. Now, what is concept selling? Concept selling is nothing but when you have identified a problem. So let's say, as I was telling you, that we identified this problem, that when we apply for internships, when we write for any writer of recommendations outside, our emails are lost because it doesn't highlight that we are part of a prestigious institute. Because my email ID could be any damn thing which I've got on the internet, and the person sitting on the other side would not recognize. But the moment my email ID has a domain which says IIT, ISM, the other person, okay, somebody who has got credential is writing it. So we immediately identified that it's a must problem to solve, because getting attention to email is very difficult for anybody. The moment we identified that, we thought, can we solve it? So we created the service. Then we asked people, are you willing to pay for it? And everybody was very much aligned that yes, this is something we want. And hence, from the very first day, even before we started building the product, to whomsoever we were talking, everybody was saying, yes, if you ask us for some amount of money, and if you provide the service to us, we can pay. And that made us invest from our own pocket initially, because we knew that if we'll build this as a service, there are takers in the market. So ideally, or I'll say, in a bootstrapping scenario, it's very important for us to sell the concept to people, which is maybe you can just doodle it out, draw it in a piece of paper, bounce it off to people, talk to your potential customers. If that requires you to offer coffee to people and then ask them that this is something I'm doing, why don't you come down in a 60D alone to discuss it, in reference of a B2C, or if it's B2B, speak with the business owners, speak with, let's say, the business managers, or maybe people who are doing similar businesses in your friends and family, and ask them that I'm thinking to solve this problem. Do you think if I bring a solution to you, are you going to pay me for that? Once you get an initial bit of traction that yes, people are willing to pay, then start getting into the building mode. For the simple reason is, building something means you are going to spend money. Selling something means you are going to get money. So once you have delivered it, the money will start coming in, and hence you'll have a rotation of money coming into the organization. So this is very important, that do concept selling. Till the time you are not able to sell a concept, generally entrepreneurs have that very, I'll say, stickiness towards creation of something. We are all passionate about creating something, and hence my recommendation, the first recommendation to you is, after you have valued whether this idea has taken us into the market or not, is to concept sell. Now, when you are selling something initially, another mistake, or I'll say another recommendation which I'll tell you is, because you're fairly new into the market. Let's say when Sumit and Prasoon started their business, they were launching a food product. Now they knew that it's a healthy product. A lot of people are out there, but in order to sell their product into the market, they might need to go to the distributor. Now, because they are creating a brand, the distributor might say, I want to have a lot of discount on your product, or I will not pay upfront to you. So selling, but selling with a view of having the cash at the time of selling is very important. Or I'll say, if I have to give my example, when I used to sell, even if I'm not getting 10 deals, I'm only getting 2 deals, but somebody who's willing to pay me a part of that deal as advance, I'll take that deal. Instead of somebody telling me, okay, Divir, I like the concept. If you build 3 more features into this, after 3 months, we can take a trial and then maybe give you an order. So instead of doing that, I'll prefer the customer who is paying me upfront for using whatever I have created, and then they are saying that incrementally, if you make it more robust, or make it more valuable, we'll pay you more. So taking advance, taking a part of your fees as part of the commitment from the customer is very important, because if you're not getting that cash in, and you're continuously building, and due to XYZ reasons, if the customer then will say that I don't want this, or my priorities have changed, then you are in big soup, because you've invested money for somebody to buy and now there are no buyers. So this is important. Second is, if you're selling something in which maybe the customer is not paying you advance, your terms at which you are agreeing with that guy, maybe your company is at a very nascent stage, but that doesn't limit you to put the right terms in the beginning, because whatever terms you create with the customer in the beginning are going to last throughout your I'll say relationship with that client, and it will be very difficult for you to change that into the market or change that with the customer. So maybe if advance payment is something which you think is very useful for your business, maybe first 3-4 customers might not pay you advance. Don't worry. don't worry if the first 4 customers are not paying. Maybe it will take you some more time to sell the product in advance. But when you establish that when we sell our product, we take 50% advance, 30% advance, or even if we'll give credit, we'll only give for 10-15 days. You are ensuring that your money is not stuck and you have a continuous flow of cash, which is very important for a bootstrap company. This is another important thing for any bootstrap founder. Don't look for employees to do all your work. If you are a founder, you have to learn and understand that the more things you will do initially, the more money you are saving for your organization. I've seen entrepreneurs who from the very beginning wear this very glamorous hat that we are now founders and I'll find people to do job for me. That is not going to happen. So to give you an example, when I started my organization for the first 6 months, I didn't rent out any office. For the simple reason is at that point of time nobody knew us, and I thought it was not necessary for us to spend rent on an office where I can save this money and maybe utilize it for hiring my first employee, or maybe utilize it for doing some social media promotion or any other thing. So you have to be frugal. Second important thing is when we started doing, we were doing as our founding team almost anything and everything by ourselves. So when you want to bring the first employee, you have to make sure, because bringing an employee means you are responsible for it. And if you're responsible, you have to pay salary. Maybe if they like your idea and they're willing to take that risk, maybe you're not paying them the market salary, but still he is dependent on you. So if you don't have a visibility of how I'm going to take care of the other person till that time, till the time you have not built that amount of cash in your company, try and do most of the things by yourself. And when you will try to do a lot of things by yourself, you'll find avenues to cut costs and deliver things. Maybe let's say I'll take an example. One of our juniors started the company. For him, it was very difficult to identify a guy as a co-founder in technology. But the startup needed an application. He started learning Android, and the first version of application he coded by him. Or let's say for me, when I started, I cannot outsource the sales of my product to somebody else. I learned how to do sales because it was important for me. I cannot bank. And in fact, that was my notion. I hired after 6 months a sales business development executive from MBA college, because my idea was if I bring somebody who can do this job for me. And after 2 months, I realized that he or she was not that much passionate or interested. Maybe they were just there for getting a certificate. So learn things and try and do most of the things by yourself or by founding team till the time your time is there to be invested in the company. Don't look out for hiring people just because you have started a company and now you're a founder. This is also important, that keep your 8-10 hours or 12 hours or 15 hours of working very tight, because you have to do a lot of things. And this is not just professionally, personally also. First 6 months, I never had a maid or a sweeper, anything available for me at home. We used to do all the work because we were saving money. We were cooking our food ourselves. That way I was saving 10-15,000 a month, and I can use the 10-15,000. And for bootstrap companies, founders, they don't draw salary because there's no point drawing salary. You have to just bare minimum maintain yourself, that you have good living conditions, you have food available for you, and the basic amenities. But the more you save, the less you need to worry about what you need to spend. This is also important, that try and do a lot of things by yourself. Connecting thing is, don't unnecessary spend. If there is, well, I'll tell you a classic story. When we were starting up, we were fortunate that we found our initial set of customers who were paying. The money was started coming in, and the moment the money started coming in, we got very excited. And I reached out to one day to my mentor, who actually invested the first bit of money for us to kick off as an accelerator. And I said, sir, I'm thinking to raise once a year, and this is my business plan, that these are the areas on which I need to spend the money. And He asked me that I don't want to see this once here. Give me a line item wise description to the tune of every 500 rupees that you want to spend. Break it down into every smaller thing. If it's office rent, write that. If it's electricity bill, write that. If it's an internship stipend, write that. I prepared that. I went to his home. He just took 30 minutes to tell me that half of your expense are unnecessary. These are not needed. Why you want to maybe, let's say, create a new website where your existing website is solving the purpose. By just creating a new version of website, you're unnecessarily spending 60,000, which is not needed. So you have to prioritize where you have to, but the moment you identify that this is some expense which I can park, which
Not audible. Volume is not audible.
Yeah, Harshda, are you
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir. I'm there.
yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, so till what time you guys were with me? If you can just give me the
You
slide.
went to the mentor with your.
Okay, yes. Yes, I think this slide, the previous slide, right? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are. Yes. So I was saying that I went to my mentor and I said that, we started generating revenue. And I asked him that I need money to spend. And I prepared a budget that I need 1 crore rupees. Sorry, I think there's some background. So I said I need to spend some 1 crore rupees. And he asked me that Divir, prepare every line item to the tune of even 500 went back to him. And he told, so let's suppose that he said you don't need a website now. Your current website is working very fine. Why you want to spend another 30,000-40,000 in creation of a new website? So this is very important in bootstrapping, that you must know where you want to spend your money. Because every penny that you're saving, you can invest in the right spending that you want to do in your business. So that's where I say you have to be very cautious about, and you have to be very cognizant about where you want to spend your money. And why this is important? Because unlike, let's say, when you're not doing bootstrapping, uh, starting up is very glamorous. Bootstrapping is not at all glamorous. You will not get money to get your, let's say, article published in a magazine, or participate in award functions, or maybe do a lot of networking where you're getting, let's say, gala dinner or everything. You don't have that money. So which means if you don't have that money, and maybe let's say you have your peers who are running startups on investments, they might do a lot of investments on marketing. They can spend a lot of money in participating in award functions, or throwing big events. But for you, that is not where your money should go. So which means you have to stay focused, that though the outside world, a lot of things are happening where people who have access to money are burning it and they're getting traction, but bootstrapping is not glamorous. In bootstrapping, you are trying to solve the problem, you are trying to earn the money, and you are using that money to continuously fuel your growth. So if you lose focus, you'll invest money at the places where you should not be, and then you don't have the capital which you should be investing to get the desired growth. So don't lose focus. Replication is very important in bootstrapping. So if I have found out that okay, this particular industry is buying my product, I'll probably reach out to 50 more customers and sell that, so that I have more cash. Once you have more cash, you have more resources, you can hire people, you can hire expertise, then you can do marketing. So you have to build step by step. And I've seen when we started, one of my uh, uh, cohort mate, he spent out of the money that we have got, I think 50% of the money making a trip to London to pitch to an investor. And by the time he came back, he didn't have any money to spend to his own business. He flew first class, stayed in a 5-star hotel in London, and the money was gone in 15 days. So that is very important, because he was looking that if I go London, I'll meet people, I'll post something on LinkedIn, people will say I'm doing a great job. But eventually, the success of a startup is, do you have customers who are liking your product and they're paying for it? And that's where the most important thing for a founder and the early stage team is, you are continuously learning, you are continuously unlearning things. So we've committed a lot of mistakes, but we were quick to understand that this is something where we have gone wrong. Let's say the example that I've given. I hired sales reps from prestigious MBA colleges, and I realized that for them to do this kind of hard sales is not their aspiration. Their aspiration is to maybe do strategy. Their aspiration is to do marketing. But for my business, sales is a core function, and if I don't take charge of it, there's nobody who will generate that amount of business for me. So then I started hiring passionate people who are really want to learn sales, can do the dirty job of knocking doors of the customers, be there on ground, spend and work in, let's say, the heat of Delhi and rains of Bombay, and continue to relearn. So maybe if you're doing something right, don't get swayed away, and increase your learning and repeat it on a continuous mode, so that you're churning these cycles of success continuously. And this is true for your first hires. This is true for, let's say, your founding team. Maybe I started with sales, but soon I realized that okay, marketing is something which we have to pick up now. Now that is not the point where I'll just go out in the market and ask somebody to join as a CMO. Learn what is digital marketing. Once you've learned digital marketing, maybe after 6 months, when you have somebody who has joined you as the first marketing colleague of yours, you have to relearn it so that you can teach the other guy. Most of the times, if founders doesn't have the necessary skills, how will you manage the people who will look up to you in order to deliver those things? So this is important that you learn. If you're making mistakes, unlearn whatever you've learned, because the dynamics will change. And if you're good at something, continue to relearn. Make sure that your colleagues, your juniors, your peers are also learning it, and collectively you guys are delivering more value for your customers and hence generating cash for you. This is another tip which I'd like to give you. If you're finding it difficult, and let's say in today's world, finding a talent who can code for you, hiring people in tech domain is very expensive today, because we have already got 100 unicorns and a lot of investments have gone. You'll not find a talent who will come at, let's say, a meager salary or at a peanut salary. There you have to identify maybe people who are passionate. So when I used to hire interns for technology, maybe let's say computer science graduates or electronics graduates will always get opportunity to code from our kind of an institute, but let's say a chemical engineer won't get, because his curriculum has not taught him coding, but maybe he has that passion of coding, and that guy is the right fit for you, because he will value that you are giving him an opportunity. Then make the workplace very playful and enjoyable, so that he remains committed. And I'm telling you, 6 months before, there was a guy who wanted to build a startup. He was finding it very difficult to hire first few set of employees. They hired 3-4 people from our similar pedigree colleges, and the first version of product was out in 4 months, and the quality was amazing. These guys were very excited to work on AI, ML, data science, this opportunity of internship provided them to explore, and these guys can now utilize the same experience when they are sitting for their placements, or maybe their dream jobs. So this is very important, that look out for interns, like-minded people. These guys are not there for money. They are there for two things. Maybe fun, they like your business idea and the problem that you're trying to solve. Second, they want to improve themselves. They want to prove themselves. So that's a mutual win-win. So it's very important that if you're not finding talent in terms of hiring, go the intern route. It will need you to handle these guys. It will need you to invest time and energy with them. But that's the only initial struggle. If you're able to overcome that, these guys, and maybe I'll tell you, our first senior developer, he was the intern that we had for 6 months. He liked us so much, we liked him so much that he eventually joined us as full time. He didn't even sit for the placements. So this is also a very good recipe for building your first level of team. If you're not finding full-time guys, maybe because of, let's say, monetary or any other constraints, they are not able to join you, but you can always find 6 month interns, 3 months interns, 1 year interns, who can act as your first level of employees and deliver the things. Last but not the least, which I'll say is, most of the time the hustle is so big in startup that we are very immersed in continuously delivering things, and we forget to keep a check on what we are building. What are the things that should be in control? What are the things which are going out of control? So it's very important for you to define each and every milestone and put a very hard check on it. So let's say if you have drawn the business plan which says that I need to onboard 100 users for a B2C company, or maybe 5 enterprise customer for a B2B company, or I have to write 50 emails. If you're not keeping a track on these KPIs, over a period of time, you will find that you are making a lot of effort, but the realization of that effort is not coming. So in order to keep a track, it's very important to keep dashboards. You should know. Just like when you're preparing for your examinations, one of the key things that we check is we'll prepare a timetable that in the first day I'll cover 10 chapters, the second day I'll cover 10 chapters, the third day, so that by the time I'm going for the exam, I have some bandwidth to do the revision and then sit for the exam. If you're just reading and reading, maybe one chapter you've consumed 4 days and now you don't have the time to invest for the other chapters. So it's very important that identify which are the key 3, 4, 5, 6 KPIs are relevant for your business. Maybe number of customer acquisition, number of cold calls, number of emails, number of client feedback, or let's say if it is development, how much of the code that we have written, what is when we wanted to start the testing of it, the production environment, all of that. So prepare a small dashboard which throws numbers and data pointers to you so that you can realize whether we are delaying or we are on track, and if we are off track, what needs to be done to bring us again on track. So these are some resources which I've kept for you, and I'll share the slides. Few of the important things for any bootstrapping companies, you can always look for seed funds with the initial money to run your business for, let's say, first 3 to 6 months. We did that. We raised our first series, which is a seed fund from IIM Ahmedabad, and it really helped us.
So if you're sharing the slides are not shared actually.
Oh, sorry. I think, because I was locked out. Let me just share it. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, so I'll just run through, I think, though I've explained everything. So this is, I think, where we started, that you guys need to be frugal. This I'm saying, don't lose focus. Bootstrapping, this is very important that we stay committed, focused, and not swayed away by all the glamour which is going around the startup ecosystem because of the money which is coming in into the ecosystem. Continue to learn and increase your skill. Continue to unlearn if you are making mistakes, and teach when you are bringing fresh talent so that they can also deliver at the same level what you are delivering. This is the intern piece which I talked about, that if you're finding it difficult to hire employees, hire interns, invest time with them, give them a good playful environment. They should feel very committed for the company, for the enterprise. Maybe you can find your first I'll say functional heads, your co-founders, out of these people because they are very early into your journey. Last, which I was telling was measure the key KPIs which are important for your business, which could be, as I said, the number of customers that you want to onboard, the number of emails that you want to write, maybe the production of code which you want to complete after a point of time. So these are the things which are important. I have put some resources for you guys. One of the things which can really help you in doing the bootstrapping is raise early capital, which could be a seed fund where somebody could invest basis your team and idea and write first check so that you have some runway, maybe like the first 3-6 months. Then you start making your own revenues. You can always apply to grant. One of the good things that happened with us was we won a grant of I think some $40,000, and at that point of time that helped us survive for almost 6-7 months. And in that 6-7 months we were able to sell a lot of sell it to a lot of customers, and then the revenue started coming. If you want to really understand the principle of starting up, there's a very good program by Y Combinator called Startup School. I think these are Princeton pass outs. You can go through that entire curriculum there. Before starting up, I can share one template with you which has some 15-20 questions. I think most of the founders or let's say startup enthusiasts, they have everything there in their head, and most of that is very volatile. So this template will have certain questions. The moment you start answering it, will bring clarity. And the good part is once you have things written in paper, it helps you to crystallize your idea and make it presentable to others. Hiring interns, I think Internshala is a great source. What KPIs and PRAs according to let's say the kind of business and the stage of business, this is another resource where you can find it. I think somebody asked for social enterprise as well. There are very good resources in which how you want to let's say take the social enterprises, what are the things which you should do in building a social enterprise is there. And last but not the least is a founder should develop a habit of reading, because learning by doing is great, but and it's very expensive. So if you can learn from somebody else's mistake, then you're reducing that time curve. And the second important thing is it's cheap for you. So few of the books really helped me initially. I think major execution is very important in any sales startup. Sales, I think, is a very important skill set of any one of you who wants to start. If you're not a good salesman, trust me, it's very difficult for you to build a business. And selling has an art part to it, has a science part to it. This particular book, Never Split the Difference, gives you a very strong guide rail how to sell, how to negotiate. And last but not the least is building a startup is all about dealing with people. You're dealing with customers, you're dealing with your co-founders, your colleagues, your employees. And when we deal with people, eventually what we are just, there's a chimp inside, and then we have a logical side of this behave, why they behave. And when you're able to understand where the other person is coming from, why you are doing certain things, because maybe you're too high in emotions, or maybe you're
Voice is not audible, sir.
too low in, and the people side very strongly. But I'm mostly done. I'll be more than happy. Not audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's
sir. It
continue,
was
please.
having a breakage in between.
Okay. So I was saying I'm mostly done. I'll be more than happy to take any questions. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You are. You are. So
Yes,
exactly. Yes, sir.
Please
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
You can.
Mr. Divir, please go ahead. You are audible now.
I'm saying I'm done. If there are any questions from the audience, I'll be more than happy to take.
Okay, so to kick start, I think someone has to start some interaction. Uh, uh, they're very nice talk actually, and you all are gems of IIT ISM Dhanbad, who is now shining in the sky of our nation. What see the same question I would like to ask to you also. The question I asked in the beginning to Sumit also, that what are the problems he faced when they started here? Because nowadays everywhere people are talking about incubation center, innovation, startups, and then there are various uh, financial schemes which are coming from the government also to help the new startups. So that was not the case, I think, in those days when you might be the student.
Yes.
So, so from where you got these inspirations that you had to build your own thing and grow? Because like Sumit told that it is very difficult during your college time to face the society when they ask, what are you doing? Okay, why you are wasting your time after doing engineering from such a good branch and such a good college? Why not you are going for placement and take a big salary? Okay,
Right.
so go ahead, Divir, your comments.
Then, in fact, I think I'll answer the question the reverse way. First thing which you said, society. I think I can very much relate to it because I too come from a middle class family background. And the first thing I ensured was that I'm getting a placement. Because if I go to my parents and say I want to start up without having a job in hand, they'll say this is some joke that you're making, and because you're not getting a job, you want to do a startup. So the first thing I did was to make sure that I have a job in hand, which I never wanted to do. But why I didn't want to get into the job was not because I felt that I could be a great entrepreneur. The simple thing was in college I was solving problems and I was getting really excited and passionate in doing that. I was a bad engineer. From the very outset of it, I could understand that even if I'll venture into a job, I'll not do a great justice to it. But solving problem and seeing that impact coming in the other person's life was giving me a very strong drive. We as I was telling you that we created email ID and I could see that it was making an impact and how people were getting internships. That's a very small thing, but it was giving me immense pleasure to do that. So I think for any startup founder, the core lies is, are you really passionate about it? If you're only doing it because everyone is doing it, in the highs, people will praise you, but in your lows, you'll not find anyone but yourself or maybe your founding team. So if you don't have the why right, why you are getting into the startup, and I'll not say getting into a job or delivering excellence for somebody else is a meager thing to do. If you have that knack, I have my colleagues who are excellent academicians. They've gone to universities, done their PhDs, they're contributing in the best way possible. So if you think that that's your forte, do that. If you really find passion in solving problems, then go for entrepreneurship. The problems, I'll say, as I was telling you, there's a life cycle to a company. Every stage of company will bring some or the other challenge. Initially, maybe building a team, bootstrapping. Why we did bootstrapping? Because at that time in India, funding was extremely difficult. When money didn't become a problem to us, hiring and retaining talent became a problem. Then once you hit a scale, the biggest problem is to have the same standards that you're delivering to your customer when you were small. Culture will become a problem. Managing people will become. So every stage will find different problems. But if you enjoy solving problems, you'll identify good people who can support you. You'll find mentors. You'll find, I'll say, advisors, and you'll find colleagues who are there to work with you. So to answer it short, I think why you need to start only when as I said, starting up is not always glamorous. What we are seeing is only tip of the iceberg, which are the success stories. Against every success story, there are 20 failure stories, and it's a hard grind. So only start when you're committed to it. Don't just start because everybody is doing.
Yeah, thank you. I think, and yeah, it was really nice for me as a HOC also that I could hear some experience. Someone has started their business from scratch, and they were not actually from the background, and they are businessmen now. Now over to Hasda. Please, I request all the mentee institutes like Birla Institute of Technology, BIT Extension Center, Devghar, Central University of Jharkhand, Jharkhand Rai University, Chaibasa Engineering College. If they have some representatives here, please ask questions. This golden interact. Lata sir, Dr. Devdas Lata sir.
Sir, actually, irrespective of the question, I have a feedback actually.
Okay,
I really,
go ahead.
yes, sir, it was literally very much connective. The way you shared means people say about things happening and it feels fancy. But when you said about your real life example, how step by step, how did you grow? It felt like if you can do it, then why not me? Or why not us standing like you're from the same platform, you studied in IITSM, and that gave me so much connect, and I feel like people attending this, they also felt that much connect because it was so realistic. The approach that you did and the position you are in, it's so realistic, and it feels like the hard work, dedication is the only uh, distance between you and us. So yes, putting that and going up to you, that's what I felt. So thank you so much for the lovely presentation, sir, actually. So that's what I felt about it.
Thank you, everyone.
Sir, any more questions anyone want to ask?
No.
So I think yes sir, yes sir.
Sir, I want to ask, like, why did you choose only the FMCG brand mainly, specifically in your
Yes.
company? Like, yeah, yes, thank you.
Very, very nice question. So I'll say, initially I didn't. In fact, when I passed out from college, for me, FMCG sales and distribution was Greek and Latin. I didn't know anything about FMCG. Only when I progressed into that, my first customers were not from FMCG, they were from apparel. But
so your voice is breaking, sir.
Once you start, you realize that you have to have some skill in it. Though it was getting traction, but the size is that FMCG. Hello, maybe I'll turn off the video. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, sir,
It was breaking earlier. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So I've actually stopped doing the broadcast from the laptop. So I was saying, when we started Vidya, I simply didn't know what FMCG is all about. To me, FMCG was Greek and Latin. My first customers, they came from apparel as a domain, and within apparel it was all innerwear. But then I soon realized that only serving innerwear as an industry is not going to build a large scale business. So then I started looking out for different industry verticals, and most of the time common sense prevails. In this case, the vertical that we chose at that point of time was very simple, that India has 120 crore people and everybody has food to eat, and hence we chose FMCG because it's a daily need. In fact, if you see during pandemic, I was very happy to have that decision made 7 years before, because in pandemic every other industry was struggling. The only industry which thrived was, let's say, either medicine or education, and third was food, because these are primary sectors. So for us, building something for the primary sector was an ever demand that will never go in the other side. If you are choosing an industry which is very niche, very specific, it's very high end, there might be times where the demand will go away. But in FMCG, food is which we are going to consume throughout our life, and the population that we have, we thought that this vertical will always have demand. So it was a very simple, logical, commonsensical step that we took.
Yeah,
So I
thank
was
you, sir.
able to, yeah, if I
Thank
was
you, sir.
able to answer your question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? So I think, sir, like it's all cleared up.
Yes.
So yes, sir, a shield.
Uh, good evening, sir. My name is
Good
Sanjeev
evening.
Kumar, founder Shield, and I want to ask a question that as we have a good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
I
evening.
want to ask a question that we have seen in news various times that there is a fight between the co-founders. So,
Yes.
what are the issues that comes while in a startups and that make a startup ruined when two co-founders just separate because of some internal or some other reasons? So, please, can you explain those things?
Most of the time, I think things are very good and hunky dory till the time you don't have money. As they say,
Yes, sir.
in world, the three biggest sources of issues is jar joru zameen, and one of the critical thing for conflict is money. Right? Till the time you don't have money into the system, everything is hunky dory. The moment you have money started creeping in, people will it will change their thought process. So one of the bigger mistakes that I've seen people doing is when they start up, they don't have any proper legal documentation in terms of what everyone is going to get once it gets successful, and most of the things are only verbal. So that's where I'll say an incubation center, or let's say for us the ECL of IIM Ahmedabad, they really helped. But even before they gave the money to us, they made us sign a founders agreement. So everything was very crystal clear. So I think that's very important, that if you're starting up, the understanding between founders should be very clear. It should not happen that after starting up, once you have got the customers, now you guys are deciding, okay, which percent of equity will go to which founder, who will have what title, who will do what job. Because if that is the thing, then your energies are going in resolving conflict rather than solving problems for the customer. So if you don't have radical transparency between the founders, most of the times the things will fall apart once you have good traction in the system. Second could be if you don't have a strong alignment. Then what happens is during the tough time, the startups or the founders, they get into fights and the things get ruined. So it's very important that you should have a radical transparency from the very day one, and you continuously realign yourselves, because it's a dynamic system. Things will continue to change. If you're investing time in aligning uh, between the founding and the initial set of team, and you are holding each other's back instead of backstabbing, then things will remain continue to remain good, and your own sole purpose will be increasing the value of the company, increasing the value or delivering the value to the customer. So I think get the basics right. You should have proper documentation, and that is not just true for you as founders; it's true for your customers. So have everything crystal clear, black and white. The more you keep things in gray, the more are the chances that it will be interpreted at a later time in a very different way, and then it will cause issues and struggle and chaos.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions from the audience, sir? I think like most of the doubts are cleared up, and we must be heading towards ending the session. Before that, sir, thank you so much for this really informative session. Actually, like listening from the alumni like you, it's really inspiring. And we are very glad that you came and you preached so much information, and we are leaving with more than what we came here with. So thank you so much, and really thank you from the bottom of the heart that you took time from your busy schedule. And thank you so much, sir. And as Pankaj sir told, we will be upcoming with such workshops in the near future, so hope to collaborate with you again, sir.
Always,
So that's
always.
so with the audience, we'll be meeting you soon with the next event. So till then, stay safe, stay sanitized, and ultimately, mainly, that's very important, that is stay happy. So thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sampad, Arshada, for organizing this. It was a pleasure to be there with all of you guys, and I take a lot of pride and privilege that in any way I'm contributing back to the alma mater. So always there for all of you. Thanks a
Yes,
lot.
thanks to
having me.
NVCTI ITSM Dhanbad.
Yes, yes.
Thank you to all.
Thank you, everyone. And my really apologies for the technical glitches that I was having because I'm at the airport. But still, I really enjoyed having. Thank you, everyone.
No issues, sir. Thank you, sir.
Before ending, so I Divir as well Sumeet, and since now the Corona period is over, we will love to host them in the campus sometime in the Penman Hall in the near future, and hope they will be our students will be happy to meet them in front of them actually. So hope to see them in the campus. And yeah, and with this, I'd also like to thank the coordinators of our mentee institutes, Mr. Vishal S. Shah, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Lal of BIT Extension Center Devgar, and Professor Devdas Lata, who is always ready to collaborate with us from Central University Jharkhand, Professor Kumar Amrendra from Jharkhand Rai University, and Professor Chen Chakravarti from Chaibasa Engineering College. So thank you all the participants from these mentee institutes are especially thanked. Thank you very much. Hasida, over to you.
Thanks to Pankaj also.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.